Hey everybody, it's Nikki with Delicate Tension Tarot. This is going to be a reading for the sign of Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or if you just have a lot of Aries placements in your chart, or if you have a strong Aries in your Mars. Just lost my train of thought. Sorry. So this will be for the energy regarding November 1st through the 15th. I will be doing an update. I totally spaced on the fact that we have a new moon happening in Scorpio. There's... that's all I have to say so far. I feel like it's really interesting because it's almost as if I pick up on the preceding energy of what's coming before it actually happens, so that I can be prepared on how to help others through that energy when they start coming to me. Not gonna lie, it's very, it's funky. That's the best way I can put it. It feels funky, but I think it's because it's very deep in this weird, mysterious, uncomfortable energy. It's like the way that you feel when you watch a movie that just leaves you feeling unsettled afterwards. It's like it stays with you, right? And part of me is wondering if what's happening right now is it's as if all of this unsettled stuff that we have in our lives is kind of creeping to the surface, either to be settled because that's by choice, right? Or it's going to be very push comes to shove. It feels very jarring. It almost feels similar to the energy towards like the latter half of August and September, but different. I mean, if I'm going to be honest, it kind of feels like a death march, which not in the way that I'm actually talking about actual death, but it feels as if, you know, there are these major things that are going to take place that we can't come back from. I haven't said that so far in any of the other videos, so congratulations. Maybe it's a message for you. But I'm going to take a moment now to kind of tune in and see what it is that I see for you guys. We also will have Mercury retrograde in Scorpio during this time period that I'm reading on, so hold on to your hats. A lot of people use that as, you know, people are like, oh, that's when all your exes come back and stuff goes haywire, which is totally true because Mercury is much closer in proximity as a planetary influence. We often do feel the impact of it on a greater scale, so it's very quick. I mean, it is the messenger. It is communication, so it makes sense as to how it would impact us so quickly. I always think of Hermes when I think of Mercury, this little dude with wings on his feet. So yeah, sorry, let me backtrack and go back to seeing what it is I see for you guys. So this feels kind of similar to Pisces energy. So you may have Pisces somewhere in your chart. You could always be dealing with a Pisces too. But I literally felt like I got hit with this wave that kind of like knocks me back, and I'm just laying on a bed and I'm staring at the ceiling and I'm just thinking. And it's very, what do I do? What do I do? And there's also this essence of looking at every possible avenue. Almost as if you're this weird kind of predetermination of each choice's outcome. Literally just got the message that there's always hidden variables though, so maybe you need to keep that in mind before you make a really distinctive choice. And another thing I've been telling people is I just don't know if I would make any choices until like mid-December. With the lingering element of most retrograde periods, it's just good to not fully commit to any decision until the energy settles. Unless you have to. I mean, if you have to, it's something you have to do. Of course, you know, don't just sit there and wait it out. But yeah. So let's get started. I did just see the Tower and the Four of Wands reversed, so you might have some issues going on within the home or issues surrounding the home. There could be renovations or repairs needing to be made, or this could actually be a change of house. You could find out you either have to move suddenly or you have to go somewhere else to be of help or service to another person in your family, or someone may be coming into your family home. Tower's still there. Okay. Show me what's happening for Aries for November 1st through the... Whoa. A lot's happening. Let's try this one more time. Show me what's happening for Aries for November 1st through the 16th, please. You might have recently completed a cycle. This could be going all the way back to, as I was talking about, September's energy, latter half of September, moving into October. We did have Saturn going direct and Pluto going direct, so you might have completed some major things. Those completions could have felt very definitive in nature, because I see it, it's really weird. You could be, or have decided that you no longer wanted to work with certain people or work on something with certain people. It is also quite possible that you are not listening to certain people who are close to you. Whatever it is that you used to do all the time in the past, you're no longer doing that anymore. It's kind of like you're trying to change the game. You're trying to change the way that you operate in these situations, or the way that you would handle them. Because the Eight of Pentacles in the upright usually is my card for doing things over and over and over again the same way. Oftentimes it is to hone in on a skill, but when I see it paired with the Three of Cups, it could be either running in the same circles, or maybe constantly listening to others or having the support of others through a situation, and you might have gone solo in this or decided to listen to yourself. We'll clarify that. I'm curious about what the Six of Cups is. You could have visitations from someone from your past, whether it is connected through childhood or just long-term experience with them. This reconnection is definitely to help you move forward, though. I don't know. It's going to be your choice whether it's with or without this person. I don't know if it's going to be with. If it is with, they seriously have to change the way that they operate in life. And I think that's where I would be careful. I feel like you're repeating something here. Bottom of the deck, we do have the Seven of Pentacles, so that's thinking. It's very deep thinking about what do I do with this? What do I do? Bear with me here. I feel like there is this situation where you either keep taking someone back in or you keep helping someone. And it's almost as if maybe in the past you thought that through helping this person, it would help them either heal from whatever issues that they had, or it would heal your connection, or that you could help them find ways to change. And I think at the end of the day, maybe what closing out that cycle is realizing that there's not really anything, it's not about you, and it's not about whether or not you have the ability to help them. It's the fact that they either don't want help or they keep flip-flopping on wanting help and then reverting back to the same old thing. Wanting help, reverting back. It's a very, because with Judgment here, it's a very final decision that needs to be made on, you know what, I've given you multiple chances. And at this point, for my own emotional well-being and sanity, and for my life and my clarity, I have to move either on or away from this situation. I have to disconnect. I don't know why I'm getting the word like rehab or some form of rehabilitation, but if there is issues with some form of substance abuse here, that this storyline kind of fits the idea of that with me. It could always be a relationship, like a romantic or love relationship, but I don't know. It doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't feel that way. But yeah, so this is about cleaning up. Letting go of toxic behaviors, letting go of addictions, letting go of things that someone has been tied to that just haven't been good for them. And it's the illusion. They feel bound to it. And they either could have gotten caught, you know, using again or doing something again, but... And maybe that was the final straw, right? Maybe that was the straw that broke the camel's back, where you're just like, I'm not doing this with you anymore. Like, we keep... You could even be giving finances to help this person. You've been through this a lot, and I think you keep extending this offer of support and love, unconditional love, I might add, because I think part of you just wants peace. The energy you're seeking for yourself is very peaceful. You just want peace. I think you're very tired. I think this has drained you physically, financially, emotionally. And I do think that's the whole reason why this has to end, because I think there could be realizations of this happening for you at this time. Yeah, you really understood that this cycle had to end. I think you kept taking this person back in from out of the cold. I mean, they literally could have been in dire straits. They could have been, you know, financially not able to take care of themselves, whether that was through blowing their finances on their addiction or just... I feel as if this person does not have a lot of what I would refer to as life skills. I don't think they know how to take care of themselves. I don't think they know how to have or form any stability in their lives. And I think the part of that could have been, you know, tied to the reason why their addiction became so strong, is it's that feeling of helplessness and hopelessness. It's that feeling of what's the point? Why should I try when everything is the same? Or at least that's what I'm getting. Yeah. You are definitely the source of financial support. And even if, so let me step back here because I know there's some people out there who, they would like to hear the multiple ways in which I could see this and not just me looking at it as a very specific thing, even though I do feel like when I'm translating it as a very specific story, that is the message that needs to come across, and whoever needs to hear it or whatever group of individuals need to hear it or needing to hear it at this time for a very specific reason. So if I'm doing like the side piece of this, if this is a romantic relationship, it could be getting clear on the fact that you either are the more financially stable one, or you are the one that essentially has their shit together. So you do have the ability to help others, but at what cost? And I think that's the most important thing here, is it's at what cost. I think you're becoming very clear on that. And I think you're starting to become even more clear on how this is actually affecting you in multiple ways on various levels. You're catching up to finally seeing a little more clearly. It's like when you've had, and maybe this is part of what the Pluto retrograde was about for you. It was about you stepping back and being able to see the cycles or the patterns or the repeating thing. Because maybe what happened is maybe this person did come back into your life and maybe they needed help once again in that period. Maybe it worked for a little bit and then out of nowhere they reverted back to the same old behavior, and that's when you were like, oh my god, this is never going to change. It's like you finally got it. And maybe it was one of those things you should have understood years ago or months ago. But it just wasn't time. Okay, I'll just get on my little soapbox for a second. What is happening right now in life, in the world, something that I've noticed has become very clear to me, and I don't really care. It's not that I don't care about what other people's opinions are, but I don't. Reality is subjective. What your reality is totally different from mine. We see different things. We experience different things. We have different emotional connectors to different images. That's just the way things are. But if it's one thing that I have noticed is that I can see everyone's life around me changing and being impacted in such big ways. But it all really has to be linked, or it seems to be linked to what they've been dealing with on these weird karmic loops or cycles where repeating behaviors and patterns are coming up to be healed so that we can move forward without carrying that baggage into this new decade. I mean, on a numerological vibration for 2020, that is a 4. That is about stability. It is a very stable, solid path. I mean, the number also is linked to the Emperor and the Tarot card. So when you think about that, the vibration of the Emperor is someone who takes control and takes responsibility. And it no longer is about being in a selfish energy, but it's about understanding everybody's needs. And sometimes even in understanding everybody's needs, you have to do things the hard way. Because I think it is getting to that point to where as much as you care for this person and as much as you have unconditional love, you can only bail them out so many times, or you can only keep allowing yourself to suffer, because this does drain you. And I think too, oftentimes when we invite certain situations into our lives, we really are playing off of things that we watched growing up. And because we couldn't heal that situation, whether it was because lack of, clarity, lack of understanding, lack of experience, when we start experiencing similar situations in this portion of our lives, or as we get older, we feel as if we'll find the answers through experiencing and healing a current situation, and it'll help us heal our past. And sometimes it does. But I think sometimes we get so stuck in just wanting to heal it or fix it or kind of prove that it's not the same. I think we can get really lost in it. So I think it's getting to this point that if this thing continues to revisit you, there might even be an essence of you somehow subconsciously manifesting this into this current state. Because I think it's one of those things where this has honestly done such a number on you emotionally, where at this point you're just like, I just want to move forward with clarity. I want a clear mind, a clear heart. I can't keep doing this. And to be perfectly honest, I think you're calling the shot now. I think you're taking back control. And with both emotion and action, I think you're standing your ground. Not only on understanding what it is that you are or who you are, but also the way in which you provide. And I think it's now you choosing to only invest in what is symbiotic in nature. And I think, too, it's you finally honoring the concept of what cycles actually are and what they mean. I don't think you can really control the seasons and the cycles of whatever this thing is anymore. And that's why I think you're being more passive in the concept of letting it go and letting it go through its own blossoming, growth, fruitfulness, and then eventual ripening and death, and going back through the process over and over again. I think you're allowing this energy to discover itself, and you're no longer going to, I'm not going to say play a part in, because you're going to remain connected to it in some way, shape, or form. You're just not responsible for it anymore. And I think you're really either forcing this individual to take responsibility, or you understand that the only way they're ever going to learn to become responsible is essentially without you picking up the pieces every time. And I think you're going to see a huge change and transformation in your life once you do this, by the way. I think you are really going to realize and see exactly what this energy was doing to you. I mean, it was like every time this person came around, they were attaching weights to your body, and eventually you didn't even have the energy to move because you're so focused on expending your energy on dragging this dead weight or this heavy weight that you couldn't even provide for yourself. I mean, something was constantly siphoning off at the source. So let me go ahead and get into themed energy here. Ooh, I don't think those cards want me to use them. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I think the key here is to When I see vomit, I think purge. It makes me think of the purging process of actually like trying to remove something from the physical body that's toxic to it in nature. I think the key element here is once you get through purging all of this energy in your life that has really held you down, I think that's when there's going to be this ability to, and I think you're going to have people around you who can help you. It's almost like you're going to be able to start seeing the magic in your life again, and you're going to start being able to see how you also have endless resources at your, what's the word I want to use? At your disposal. I really do think that you're transforming into, I'll be honest, man, I think financially you're going to be doing a lot better without supporting this person. And I hate saying that because I understand that there's some people out there who really do need help, but at what point are you just fueling this person's problem? That's what I'm getting with this. At what point are you just fueling this person's problem? Yeah, I do think that with the heart, I don't think this is easy to do. Because I do think there's so many feelings here. And I mean, this person essentially is a part of your heart. They are a part of who you are. But at the same time, I feel like whenever this person comes around, they have an ability to either pull on your heart or they know how to grab your heart and your attention in such a way that you can change your mind. Because that's what I feel with Shapeshifter. I don't want to say this person manipulates you, because there are some moments where people don't even understand that is what they're doing. You know, and that's the sad part about anybody who has issues with addiction, or anybody who has issues with being so selfish that they only care about their wants or needs. It's just a natural thing for them at that point. And like only until they're out of it do they realize that that's what they were doing, and do they realize that how much that could hurt someone, or how wrong it was of them to do that. I do think you need to be protecting your home at this time. I think you've done enough for this person, and I do think that now this person either needs a new mentor or they need someone else to guide them in this process. But I do think that you need to protect your home. I think you need to protect yourself. I think you need to be more guarded. I think you need to make it more difficult for them to get to your heart. You need to make it more difficult for them to have the ability to manipulate you. And I think that through this process of November 1st through the 15th, especially with Mercury being retrograde in Scorpio, I think that, I mean, this is dark stuff. It's very difficult. It can even be borderline painful. But that is the whole reason as to why it's such a transformative energy, because it's really forcing us to get down to the bottom of something and look at it for what it is. And once we can do that and we can accept it, we can kind of let it go. And just let go with that understanding that you can only hope that it will either grow on its own in life, and you can see it at some point in the future being a better version of itself,